Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keith Thomas. I'm the Director of Law Enforcement Training here at Richmond Community College, and I appreciate y'all being here. Could I ask everyone to please rise? Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors. You may be seated. I'd like to thank the Richmond County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard for the presentation of the colors for our program tonight. At this time, I have the honor to introduce our well, it's not newly anymore. Is this your first BLET president? Second, all right. This is my new president of Richmond Community College, Brent Barbie.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yes, felt like it's been years. It's been since November, but I've been at the college for about 21 years. Wanted to welcome everyone here tonight to our BLET graduation. Appreciate everybody spending time with us. I appreciate you being able to share your loved ones, relatives, significant others in some cases with us for this class. This is a little bit smaller class for us, but the state did change the way that they are teaching this program now, the way that we're required to teach it, and we're trying to work through that along with state's guidance to try to get more officers on the road and on the streets trying to protect and serve. So again, we realize here as a college that you don't do this by yourself, that you aren't sitting in front of me because you were here every day on your own. There's support that friends and family at home wind up supporting you through this process, through this educational journey that we have, and we truly appreciate them. So at this time, let's give everybody that's around these students in front of us a round of applause for the support that you've provided through here. Again, like I said, we don't do this, alone. We appreciate the other agencies that are here sharing with us tonight. Recognize several of them. Again, we thank you for your support that we've got here at Richmond Community College and sending officers or future officers here for training or working with us to do your in-service training and other specialized training. We appreciate the journey that you're getting ready to partake in, being able to protect and serve. It allows us to continue to be free, to continue to feel safe, and we appreciate you putting your safety on the line for the safety of us that are at home, that are living here in the United States, and especially here in Richmond, Scotland County, Anson, surrounding counties. We appreciate the opportunity that you have given us to be able to live free, and so we thank you for that. We don't often thank you enough. We know that there are times when you have to deal with things that we don't deal with, that we don't see. Sometimes, as I've told other people, there are things that you see that can't be unseen, that can change and affect your life, and we appreciate you actually having the courage to step out and move forward, to be able to serve, to be able to assist with the safety of others. So one last thing, I'll be very brief tonight, that I do say to every graduating class that we have here at the college: when you get up and you leave, these seats in front of me will be empty tonight. And so we ask that for each one of you, that you continue to promote the school that you went through, you continue to promote the process that you've done, and you try to fill these seats. You try to encourage somebody to become a law enforcement officer. You try to encourage somebody to get that education, try to move forward with their life, to improve, to help serve, and to help protect. And so we would ask that you try to recruit, that you try to bring somebody back here to this college, to this program, to try to make it better, to try to make it grow, to continue sometimes with the journey that the state provides us with training. We realize that it was tough. I've been working with Mr. Taylor this whole time, and as the director of this BLET program, it's not been easy. We've worked tirelessly, complaining to the state about some of the way that they have changed this program without a whole lot of notice. They've tried working with us, but he has fought tirelessly to make sure that we can try to get U7 across the finish line. So we appreciate the opportunity that you've given to us to be able to train you and to be able to continue to serve you. So without further ado, I would like to now introduce Sheriff Ralph Kersey, our sheriff from Scotland County, to bring words to you tonight with our address. So Sheriff Kersey, thank you.
So in the past, I've kind of usually just would shoot from the hip, and folks would say I'd get too long-winded. And I know the graduates tonight, they've sat in classrooms for the last 6-7 months. From my understanding, 880 hours. It used to be 640. So I know you're ready to remove yourselves from those seats and actually report to the agency that you're going to work with and start your job. Anyway, good evening, and I am truly honored to be given the privilege to be your guest speaker for the BLET graduation class. When I was asked 2 weeks or so ago if I would speak, I started thinking back, saying, how long has it been since I was asked to speak again? Because I knew I'd already done it one time, and this has nothing to do with these two guys. But I look back, and this was really, really like it was planned, because exactly 10 years ago, in 2015, in the month of June, I was asked to speak to the graduating BLET class. And it was, at that time, there was a big difference now than it was then. And the difference between then and now is in 2015, I had solid black hair. And now, of course, you can see there's not much there, and it's white. The second thing is I was nervous as heck, because I was just the newly elected sheriff and had not done a lot of speaking in front of a group of people. And of course, since that time, this job has surely presented the opportunity to shoot from the hip and speak. But anyway, to the family, friends, and loved ones who are gathered here this evening, thank you. Your support and encouragement and sacrifices have helped to make this day possible. and now you get to feel proud. To the Richmond Community College training staff and instructors and leadership, thank you for your dedication in shaping and preparing these young men and women in becoming future law enforcement officers. Special thanks to the first responders that are here tonight and the other law enforcement agencies that are represented here. I stand before you not just as a sheriff, but as someone who has devoted his entire life to public safety. In 1979, I enlisted into the United States Marine Corps. Those years taught me discipline, strength, and the meaning of commitment to something greater than myself. After leaving the Marines, I was honored to attend the North Carolina State Highway Patrol Academy. I graduated in 1987, and I served with the patrol until retiring in December of 2011 with 30 years of credited service. In 2014, I felt the call to serve in a new way. I ran for sheriff of Scotland County, and by the grace of God and the trust of my community, I have had the privilege to serve as sheriff ever since. I share this with you not to tell you the story, not to tell you my story, but to show you the possibility when you give your life to something meaningful, this career is not just a job, that it's a calling. When I finish up as sheriff next year, which is my plans to retire, I will have exactly 45 years of service between the military and law enforcement. If you're feeling me now, I'm approaching, giving you a good idea of how old I am. Minus the 17 years that before graduating from high school, the rest of it has been public service work. And it's had to be a calling. If you are called, you can't run from it. No devil from hell can prevent it from happening, and people will tell you you won't make it. To our graduates this evening, we celebrate more than just a graduation. We celebrate your hard work, discipline, and your new beginning down a path of purpose, integrity, and service that will challenge you, define you, and change you in ways that you cannot imagine. You have completed one of the most challenging and important journeys of your life, basic law enforcement training. Many have come before you, but few have succeeded. I believe in this class you started with 13 and you finished with 7. When I went through Highway Patrol School, we started with about 70 and finished with about 35 or 40. And it seems to be a pattern there that it's about half of whatever community college or academy that you attend, you're going to lose about half. So feel very blessed to be the 7. It wasn't easy. I understand from getting phone calls, because we actually had 3 others that was in this class, receiving phone calls that how difficult the testing procedures were based on what you were provided, during the class. But 7 of you made it, and that's something to be positive about and to be proud of yourself about. You have chosen a path, a profession that is not easy, nor always appreciated, and not without risk. Yes, there will be danger. Yes, there will be sacrifices. Yes, there will also be moments, quite powerful moments, when you realize you made someone's world safer. You stood tall when it mattered most. So between every bad thing, there's always something of good that comes from it. Remember this, every call you respond to, every moment you spend in the community, every person you protect, you matter. You are the thin line that separates chaos from order. You are guardians of peace, even when peace you'll find be hard to find. See, in this profession, you will witness the very best in the very worst of humanity. There will be moments when your courage will be tested, when your fellow officers will become your brothers and sisters in uniforms, and your family, the ones that are here tonight, and those that are home, are the ones that will be your steady anchor. It's not just about knowing the law, it's about knowing people. It's about balancing the strength with the compassion. It's about speaking up when something's wrong, listening, really listening when someone is hurting. You're going to find very soon, once you're out in the field and you start your training, that law enforcement today, and it's been that way for a long time, is about 85% public service work, and the other, only 15% is actually enforcing the law today. We spend a lot of time escorting funeral services, responding to disabled motorists, responding to domestic calls, directing traffic, working in the schools. And only about 15% of that time of your career is going to be actually spent enforcing the law. You will remember the names of the people you have protected, and they will remember yours. You'll see them at the grocery store, at school functions, at church, on the sidelines of a Friday night football game. That means the way that you carry your badge, the way you speak to someone in their worst moments matters deeply. Every interaction shapes the relationship between your agency and your community. I was talking with Deputy Martin last week, and we were talking in depth about the job of being a deputy at Scotland County Sheriff's Office, or just being a police officer in general. And part of that discussion was that everything that he does in Scotland County, and where he'll be working, the public will always see him, but he won't see them. Everything that he does will be a reflection of him, his parents, and the agency that he works for, which means 100% of the time, if they complain on Deputy Martin, they're going to complain on the sheriff, because the sheriff is responsible for his agency, just like any other department head would be responsible for his agency. You will not just be peace officers. You'll be neighbors, you'll be role models, you'll be leaders in your community, and sometimes you'll be the only help that they have. Leadership means not just doing things right, but doing the right things. I challenge you to serve with courage, lead with humility, wear your badge with honor, and always look for ways to make a difference. Never forget that every decision that you make affects not just you, but your family, community, and your agency. People will see you, but you won't see them. Make good, clear, substantial violations when you make vehicle stops. You are dealing with a person's life, finances, friends will give you up quicker than strangers. The thing that I enjoyed about Highway Patrol School is when we graduated from there back in 1987, they had a 10-year policy where you cannot return back home to your county. Of course, I was sent to Gastonia, North Carolina. You could transfer out of that your first duty station after 5 years, but you could not go back home for 10 years. I understood that after I returned back home. First vehicle that I stopped one night was, I probably hadn't been back in about, been home for about 2 days or so, when I stopped one of my best friends I grew up with, and he was drunk. And the first thing he said to me is, he said, "Ralph," he says, "you're not going to take me to jail, are you?" And I says, "Why?" He says, "Well," he said, "man, we grew up together." He says, you're gonna ruin me. And the thing that I said to him is, I said, Ronnie, I waited 10 years to get back home. And I said, two things going to happen tonight. If I arrest you and take you downtown for drunk driving, you're going to tell everybody tomorrow. And if I don't arrest you and take you downtown, you're going to tell everybody tomorrow. So most of you are going back home to your county. I ask you to be careful with that because your friends will tell on you. And I can promise you that when you make that vehicle stop or you respond to that domestic call, that they're going to ask you to they're going to give you a break. I also ask of you is when you leave from here tonight and you go back to your duty station and your FTO is probably going to tell you is you make sure when you issue somebody a citation, it's a clear-cut substantial violation. And you don't do what we have a name for, most of us do. You don't shotgun blast them. We talked about it, didn't we? Shotgun blasting is when you stop somebody and you try to write them for everything that you can think of and plus some. And by the time they leave, they have about 10 charges, 15 charges against them when they should only have 3. And most of them are duplicate or mean the same thing of what you just wrote them for. For instance, if you write a man for fictitious tag, why are you charging them with an expired tag, right? Or an expired registration card. It happens. When you start putting charges on people, you're dealing with their finances and you're dealing with the man's livelihood. I have found in my career as a law enforcement officer, and I'm going to see it, is that the person that you mistreat is going to be the person that you're going to need when you need them. And he's either going to step in and help you, or he's going to use some choicy words and walk away. 45 years, folks. I can't think of anyone I've ever mistreated. And I sure haven't shotgun blasted them. I've never had a person to call me out in court and say, Judge, or tell the judge that I mistreated them in any way. If you have to put your hands on somebody out there, you put your hands on them, right? You're going to have that authority, but you make sure that you have the right to do so. And you make sure as you're putting your hands on them, you don't use verbal along with it. Because most of the complaints that we receive at the sheriff's office has nothing to do when a person has to physically handle someone. It's just that you're using some choicy words when you've put hands on somebody that you could have kept your mouth shut. I hear it all the time. As you leave this graduation and you step into your roles as public servants, never lose sight of why you started. Let your badge remind you of your duty, and let your heart remind you of your humanity. Tonight, we welcome you to the family. We stand with you, and we look forward to the difference that you will make as law enforcement officers. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sheriff. At this time, I welcome to the stage the class leader of BLET 18 and your graduation speaker, Natalie Clark, North Carolina Highway Patrol.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming. But more importantly, I want to thank all of you who supported each student from our class. As each of you know, this training was not easy. And we lost some classmates along the way, so the support you've given us just might have made the difference in us passing BLET or failing. And even just to sign up to become law enforcement officers must mean that each of you supported each of our decisions to make sacrifices in our lives to serve the public. So I applaud you, and I ask that everyone else applaud you as well. Before things get too serious, I'd like to open up with some cop jokes, so hopefully you haven't heard any of these before. Yes, they're very corny. I recently received reports of toilets being stolen from all of the local police departments. It's being investigated, but police say they have nothing to go on. I recently heard that a giant hole has been knocked into the wall of a nudist colony. Don't worry, every cop in town's looking into it. In all seriousness, we have accomplished something very few people in our society will ever accomplish, but it didn't start on day one of our training. It started way before that. Being a law enforcement officer is a calling. At some point in our lives, each of us must have played cops and robbers and preferred to be the cops. We must have seen someone being bullied and stood up for the victim. Or maybe we saw something horrible had happened in the news and thought to ourselves that someone should do something about that. And then each of us decided to be the ones taking action, answering the call when someone needs help, investigating crimes, slowing down traffic in school zones, arresting drunk drivers, and protecting the innocent. We answered the call, but it doesn't stop there. We must keep answering the call, each and every time the phone rings, or when the radios call out our numbers, or even when someone simply approaches us asking for help, and we must always try to do our best. One story I've often heard, which is referenced in the movie American Sniper, is the story of the sheep, the wolves, and the sheepdogs. There are those of you in society who live your daily lives, you go to work each day, you abide by the laws, and you cause no harm to anyone. In this society, or in this story, you are the sheep. There are also those in our society who steal and murder and commit other crimes, which often victimize the sheep, and these are the wolves. Lastly, there are those who protect the sheep from the wolves, those who defend the sheep with their very lives to their last breaths, and they are the sheepdogs. We stand before you, accepting the call to service to protect you, because we are the sheepdogs in our society. In answering this call to service, people will often look to us for help, but others will look at us as role models. We will be held to a higher standard, but not just in the terms of obeying and upholding the laws, but also in how we act off duty, how we interact with others, and how we present ourselves. Will we be the ones who present ourselves as law enforcement officers on off duty? Or will we be the officers who abuse alcohol, sag our pants, and behave in a way that brings shame to our agencies and to our families? This is the part of the sacrifices we are making. As law enforcement officers, we must always hold ourselves accountable to the highest standards. We must remember that our actions off duty will still be judged by not only the laws, but also by our agency policies, even when we aren't on the clock. Everyone knows we will work long hours, that we will sometimes be in danger, when we get injured or even killed in the line of duty. But it's the sacrifices we will be making off duty which will be the most overlooked, such as sleepless nights, lying in our bed, trying to get sleep while visions of brutal crimes play out in our heads, or missing warm meals because there's a bad traffic accident we must respond to. People won't always know about how our jobs will affect our families when we bring the stress of work home with us, or when we have to work on holidays and weekends while our loved ones sit at home worrying about whether or not we will make it home. In the worst of circumstances, none of us knows it will affect our families. We are involved in a high-profile incident, and because of the mob mentality often exhibited in our society, our families could be targeted by the hate of others simply because we did do our jobs. It's these types of sacrifices the recruiters often don't tell us about, but it's these types of sacrifices we must be prepared for and we must prepare our families for. But are the rewards worth it? Are the rewards worth the risks and sacrifices? Maybe. For me, I was in the Army, I have college benefits, so I'm sure I could have gone to school, gotten a good degree, and made more money than I will ever make in law enforcement. Some jobs pay over $200,000 a year without a college degree, so we all have more lucrative options out there. But for me, it's not about the money. I believe each of us answered this calling to make a difference, or maybe even to save lives, and that's something you simply cannot put a price tag on. So are the sacrifices worth it? For me, I believe they are. In the Army up in Alaska, I've served my country, and now I strive together to serve the great state of North Carolina. And though we stand together now as we graduate, from here, we will go our separate ways into different agencies doing different jobs. Maybe some of us will be traffic cops, instructors, detectives, bailiffs, deputies, or perhaps agents in some state or federal agencies. And as for me, I hope to become a state trooper. But regardless of who we work for and regardless of what our titles may be in the future, we will all serve the public and we will all make a difference together. How will it end? For each of us, I certainly hope we all reach that mighty goal of retirement. Between now and then, there will be many steps along the way, and there are many pitfalls to avoid. We are graduating today, but our educations aren't over. There will be other classes, more training, and we will never stop learning. Perhaps the most important lessons we can learn are taught by others through their mistakes. I challenge each of my classmates to learn good officer safety through training, but also from mistakes of others. I also challenge each of you to learn good career survival in the same way that each of us can make it to the finish line and retire. Remember, your career is a marathon and not a sprint. Don't get burnt out in the first few years by pushing yourselves too hard. Pace yourselves and learn as much as possible and enjoy the job. Be the best version of yourselves, and by being the best person you can be, success as a law enforcement officer should happen naturally. In closing, I just want to say that it has been a pleasure attending BLET with each of you. I really enjoyed getting to know each of you. And my classmates, I truly hope we can all stay in touch. I wish you all well in your careers and truly hope that each of you will stay safe, keep your family safe, that each of you will be successful, and that each of you will maintain the drive and commitment it took for each of you to make it here today. Remember why you chose this profession, and don't lose sight of that. We are graduating, but the hard work's only just beginning. Director Thomas, could you come up here for just a moment? The class wanted to present you with this plaque of appreciation.
Step up.
Thank you. Please be safe. Congratulations to each of you, and God bless.
I really appreciate the plaque. I wasn't expecting that. They bought me a rocking chair too, so I don't know if that means they want me to go home and rock or what the deal is. So I really appreciate it. At this point in the program, I want to talk about what these cadets have went through over the last 21 weeks. It has been referenced that the state of North Carolina decided that we needed to revamp our entire training curriculum for any police officer that gets certified from January 1 of 2025 on. They added, our original curriculum was 640 hours. It is now 882 hours. And it is more intensive. It focuses a lot on making sure when they leave here that they utilize all of their tools and not just some of their tools. It really talks about de-escalation in every topic. But as I explained to the cadets, that we teach the curriculum and we want you to follow what you learned, but don't get caught up in there's a time to talk and there's a time for action. And we don't need to hesitate when that time comes for action. They've heard me say this statement that we're going to ask our citizens to do what we need them to do. We're going to then tell them what to do. And then if that's not successful, we're going to make them do what they're supposed to do. And if we follow that, I think we will meet all the criteria that an officer is expected to meet. Is we're going to be respectful, but we're going to hold order in our communities. And we have to in a civilized community. So the things that these cadets went through is they first had to show that they could shoot a firearm. They had to show that they could drive a car in horrendous courses. I retired out of South Carolina. We ran 2 courses. They run like 8 here. Very stressful times at the driving track. They added a new component of control tactics, which has ground fighting. And that was shocking to me when I seen what that looked like, to be quite honest with you. But it's a necessary part of the training, because we don't want the first time they get put under stress to be on the street with a real bad guy. I think we pushed their limits in the ground fighting and showed them what could possibly happen. And I was very impressed on that they pushed forward to the end and accomplished the goal of what they were trying to accomplish. Because you never know how you respond to something until you're exhausted. And we pushed them to that point of exhaustion. And I think that's a good thing. I think the curriculum will be good once we get all the bugs worked out of it. But I just want to praise the 7 that are here. Because we officially had 13 on the roster. 1 didn't even show up day 1. So we started day 1 with 12. And I can tell you, they were stressed, I was stressed, because this new curriculum, it is weeding people out. Do I think we lost some good ones? I absolutely do. I think that the program needs to be tweaked some more by the state, and that's what I'm fighting for. And they witnessed my fighting for them firsthand, because I made the state come down here and explain to them why it is what it is, and they voiced my opinion. So I just want to commend the 7 that's here, because you accomplished something that 5 others didn't. And that's something to be applauded for, because you could have easily quit. You could have given up. Because I can tell you, these cadets were studying day and night trying to pass this program. So I appreciate the effort that you put in, because you will never forget this day because of how hard you had to work. So the last thing I want to say is, and this is to the group, that when you become a law enforcement officer, you have to make decisions very early on. The sheriff spoke about it, that you're going to have people wanting you to turn your head, look the other way. But I told y'all this in orientation and probably throughout the whole program. The only thing that you have is your integrity and your honor. And they don't sell it at Walmart. Meaning, once you lose it, you never can get it back. That's what we have to do as law enforcement officers. We have to protect it like it's worth $10 million, because it is. Because if you ever lose your integrity, you're done. You might as well turn your shield in right then, because you'll never be able to police the community you work in. And the last thing I'm going to tell you is this. You have the opportunity to change people's lives. When you go to work every day, have the intention and the goal to make a difference in somebody's life. It doesn't mean you got to save their life. It means you got to give them the time that they're looking for and answer the questions that they need, intervene when you have to, and always treat people with respect. Because every bad guy I know has got a mama that loves him, a daddy that loves him, a grandma that loves him, and they're going to expect you to treat them right, whether they treated you right or not. So as long as you can look the family in the eyes and tell them that you treated them with the respect that they deserved, then the family's going to be okay with that, because that's all they're asking of you. So please, protect your honor, protect your integrity, be professional, and always show people respect, regardless of whether they deserve it or not, because that's what is expected of us. So I say congratulations to you. As part of the program, we memorialize the situations that they go through, the training that they endure, and we designate a class photographer, which is Cadet Tupper, or now Officer Tupper. And she was recorded videos, took pictures, and thanks to the marketing team at RCC, we have produced a video, our graduation video, and it will depict what they've been through. So they wasn't lying when they said they were tired and they've been beat up, because you'll see in these videos, that's exactly what happened to them. So.
A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted, a strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back.
All at once you lost your first name. You're a cop, a flatfoot, a bull. John Law, you're the fuzz, the heat, you're poison, you're trouble, you're bad news. They call you everything, but never a policeman.
A police department is they're just humans, right? They're imperfect. They need training, they need funding, they need support. Right now they need morale, and they need people.
Whatever your job is, imagine doing it with people throwing rocks at you, people spitting on you, people trying to kill you. And then think about what their job description is. Their job description, these people in uniform, is putting your life on the line every day for strangers.
The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp.
Chasing psychopathic 15-year-olds down blind, dark alleys knowing they have a gun, but they don't yet have a conscience.
There may even be the ultimate sacrifice. Men may be killed for the cause, but that cause must be just. And that cause must, even in death, benefit those who may have to give that last full measure. And that may sound impossible, actually, because how can anyone benefit from their own death? And the answer is actually quite simple. They do so to provide safety and security where their families live.
I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It might require sacrifice.
Being a policeman is an endless, glamorous, thankless job that's got to be done. I know it too, and I'm damn glad to be one of them.
Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. How can we love our country and not love our countrymen? And loving them, reach out a hand when they fall, heal them when they're sick, so they will be equal in fact and not just in theory.
What kind of person takes that job? I don't understand it. I've never understood it. I've worked with them. I've played ball with them. I've drunk beer with them. I've laughed with them. I've cried with them. I've celebrated with them, and I've suffered with them. But I have never, for a single moment, understood them.
So at this time, we will do the recognition of achievement. These are 5 awards that we take the information from each area of requirements that the state has. One is firearms, the other is physical fitness. So the first award that I'm going to present is the Marksmanship Award, and you'll have to. Yeah. We're finding out what the weight limit of the stage is right now. So part of the BLET requirement, this is one of the areas that, that they increased. The cadets during this training actually shoot about 2,000 rounds of ammunition over a 3-week period. We go to the range, well, over a 2.5-week period. We go 2 different times. And the cadet, the way this is calculated, we take the two daytime scores and the 2 nighttime scores and add them together, and whoever had the highest points was the winner of this award, and there was a 1-point difference between first and second. So the BLET 18 Marksmanship Award goes to Chase Raffoff. Congratulations. The next area, which has a state requirement, which is called the POPAT, the Police Officers Physical Abilities Test. They actually have to run the POPAT 3 different times. They run it first week of class, and then they run it again about midway, and then they run it again towards the end of the program. And we recognize a male recipient and a female recipient for this award, simply because, listen, I believe females should be awarded for their efforts in this. Sometimes the females beat the males, but I still do 2 awards because I think that's only fair, given you get dudes looking like Tony Martin up here, and then it's not fair to anybody else. So, so this year's our BLET 18 Physical Fitness Award, Tony Martin, Scotland County Sheriff's Office. Congratulations. And I will say this, the recipient of the Female Physical Fitness Award was almost within Tony Martin's time. He didn't beat her by much. BLET 18 Physical Fitness Award, Natalie Clark. Congratulations. These cadets were required to get up at, to be here at 6 a.m. for physical fitness training 3 days a week. So it's a huge commitment throughout the program to get up probably at 5 or 4:30 to be here, because we can't be late, right? Also, an award that we give here at Richmond is the highest GPA for the program. That includes all of there's 39 blocks of instruction throughout the program, and we include the state test scores. The BLET 18 highest GPA goes to Natalie Clark, North Carolina Highway Patrol. This the last one? I can't count. And the final award that we give with our program is called the Director's Award. This is an award that I brought to the program when I took over as director. Because I tell the students during their initial interview and during orientation that during PT, everybody can't be in the front. And I'm not expecting everybody to be in the front. But I don't want you striving for the back either. You need to participate and you need to get better as the program goes along. Everybody can't have the highest GPA, but everybody has to pass. But what I want you to do as a cadet is control what you can control. Be the best version of you, and that'll be good enough. So this award is designed to recognize someone that maybe wasn't the fastest, maybe didn't have the highest GPA, but everything they did was exemplary. Everything they did was on point. Every practical exercise, they took charge. Everything I asked them to do, they didn't question. They just did it. BLET 18 Director's Award, Samara Tupper. Waysboro PD, I'm sorry. Congratulations. At this time is time for the presentation of certificates. Cadets, on your feet.
Class attention, right face.
Natalie Clark, North Carolina Highway Patrol. LaRon Jones, Hamlet Police Department. Tony Martin, Scotland County Sheriff's Office. Chase Raffall, Anson County Sheriff's Office. Ravonda Taylor, Anson County Sheriff's Office. Samara Tupper, Waysboro Police Department. Matthew Williams, Liesville Police Department. In closing, I'd just like to say to the cadets that I appreciate you choosing us and our program. I hope that I provided you with the information that you needed. If not, if I didn't know the answer to some questions, I tried to get you the answer to those questions. But I want you to know you always have a friend here. If there's ever anything I can do to help further your career, please don't hesitate to come back and visit and let me know what I can do. Each class holds a special place to me, but y'all the first of a new curriculum that is god-awful at times. And I appreciate everything that y'all did to survive and to thrive throughout this program. So congratulations and best wishes and Godspeed. Cadets, on your feet.